Chasing shadows where the seeds are sown. Fingers tapping on a Ouija board. Broken silence like a shattered chord. Eerie hums in the dead of night.
Wow. That went
Wow.
smoothly.
Yeah,
Almost scared me.
it
Almost.
does. But the end, it cuts off a
Yeah,
bit.
it cuts
so,
off. I don't know what it is.
yeah.
I'll edit another one in there. It'll be
Okay.
fine. All right, welcome everybody to another Things Paranormal Talks. We have an amazing guest again. I was very
Yeah.
excited this one. I invited her myself.
Yeah. For a change, normally I'm busy inviting.
I am trying to stalk people. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I was surprised you were stalking people as well.
So I stalked an amazing doctor, Dr. Kelly Renee Schutz. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me. My goodness, from Minneapolis, Minnesota, all the way across
All
the
the way.
pond. Yep. I'm exhausted already, but we'll have a good show tonight.
Oh yes, we will. Definitely will.
Yeah, and we have Phil in, and if he likes your story, he probably going to invite you and stalk you as well.
Oh, fuck me all you want to. Oh, I would actually feel that might actually bring up my confidence a little bit. So,
Okay.
Oh yeah,
Still love you, Phil.
definitely.
Yeah.
All right. I hope I pronounced your last name right.
yes, you did. Schutz. Actually, you're probably better than a lot of them that interview me. I get interviewed quite a bit, and it's like close enough. But you mastered it right on the button there. Yep. Good job.
I think it has something to do with the fact that it's German like.
I
Yeah.
think so. Mm-hmm.
So I can pronounce that. Yes.
Yes.
I was like, I hope I'm saying it right.
You did.
You
You
did.
did.
You did. Yeah, I'm proud of you.
Oh yes. Now I'm proud of myself. This is a
Yeah.
confidence boost. Kelly, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and what do you do?
Oh, I don't know if you have 5 hours, but I'll make it as short as possible. So I did send off to Shane and Mary my biography, and for those of you that are not familiar with me, I have done this for quite a while. I am currently a podcaster, and I'm also on Paraflix, and I've been on Coast to Coast with George Norrie, and I've actually interviewed the Skinwalker Ranch gentleman out in Utah, and so I have been lifted in my profession for quite a while now, and still asking the question why. I am a citizen researcher. A citizen researcher is someone who studies themselves in situations that cannot really be explained. And so I'm like a walking study. And I have been into the paranormal without my knowledge as well for 60 some years. And I have been able to trace back now all the way to age 3 um, my experiences, and knowing that my gifts have evolved as well. For those of you that might be have the clairs, clairvoyant, clairsentient, things like that. I've got all the clairs. I'm also telepathic. I'm psychokinetic, which means I affect things, the movement of objects, and as well of electronics. And so, anyway, to answer your question, I am a highly ranked interviewer on my shows. I've got 5 different podcasts. I'm on Paraflix. You can watch me there with all my wonderful guests, and I'm going to have Shane and Mary in the future. So we'll have them on. And so, and I write books, and I do simple movies about the paranormal. And so I'm hoping to do a documentary next year. And people want me to do a story of my life because I have so many bizarre and interesting stories. But I don't know. I don't know if people would really find me that interesting. I would have to have people that, play me and everything. But I have had quite a life, over 100 different paranormal experiences, and also along with that, 3 to 4 um, possibly visitations, UFO extraterrestrial visitations. So I'm going to stop it right there. There's a lot to me. There's a lot in my life, but yeah, I'm known worldwide, but you might be meeting me for the very first time. So
Yeah, I've seen your name coming by a couple of times already, and then I saw the bit about the black-eyed kids, and I was
yeah.
like, I'm hooked. Now I seriously need to. That was my
Yeah.
sign, because that's something I've been interested in since I was a little boy, and
You're,
it never
you're not
stopped.
you're not little anymore.
No,
Yeah.
I'm a pretty big boy now.
Yeah.
Well, do you want me to start with that?
We can start with the beginning. How did it start with
Okay.
you?
Well, of course, keep in mind when you're young, you don't know what's happening to you, right? So, where I believe it actually started was when I was around 3 to 5 years old, and I was having dreams, like I'm sure most kids do dream at that age. But what I was dreaming about was like civil unrest, wars, assassinations, stuff like that. This was being 3 to 5 years old. I would get up to go out and watch cartoons. And for those of you who might remember, back in my day, we had the nice square black and white television set, in the living room, only one per household, basically back then. Now everyone has like, I don't know, at least in the US, more than one. But then I'd be standing there waiting for my cartoons to come on, and there would be like a plane crash or an assassination, breaking news kind of thing, and I would just stand there and stare at the TV like I just dreamt about that last night in my dream, and I could tell you more about it. And so I passed it off at first, told my mother about it, and I'm 64 years old right now, so back then there was no discussion about paranormal, ghosts, this, that. It was either it's spiritual or it's the devil, based on your religion or and beliefs. And so anyway, um, I came to realize when I was around 13, though, that something about me was not like all the other kids. I was able to predict things. I was able to predict behavior really well. And I passed it off then as being my genetics. Oh, I must have got a really good set of genetics because I'm really like highly kind of like on my target compared to everybody else would be like going over their head. And so things started to do this. They started to evolve for me in different ways. And then it went into different experiences. And when I look back now, I can tell you exactly what experience I was actually having, but being told it's your imagination. No, it's not. Pass it off, blah, blah, blah. So then you shove it deep down inside of you and you tell yourself, it's my imagination. It's crazy. I'm going crazy or whatever. But now that I look back, I wasn't crazy. I was coming into my awakening, but I came into it very young, but was forced to kind of push everything back down.
Yeah.
So that's how it all began for me. But then it really evolved as things started to happen. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much for a little child.
Absolutely. Um, you also have psychokinesis,
yeah.
and when did that evolve?
It might have evolved younger than I had anticipated. I would say that I started to notice things happening probably in my 30s and 40s. I started to notice things moving, shifting, um, keys in a doorway that would be like this all of a sudden the next day would be like this. Now I always passed it off as paranormal. Um, and clock dials going 6 hours, always exactly to the minute, 6 hours ahead, always. A bag that my husband and I went a couple of years ago when I was out interviewing the Skinwalker Ranch uh, TV stars. We were in a hotel and there was my bag, which was about 25-pound bag, literally catapulted, literally. It didn't fall. It jumped, fell, woo, into the air. And I thought, did I do that? Or is something in here with me doing that? So one of the things about being psychokinetic is you can never tell if you're doing it or if something is around you, kind of noticing, watching you, and then watching what you're doing or thinking. And then like the key, there's no way that key could have done that by itself. No way. No one came to the door. No one fiddled with anything. It's just my husband and I. We never went out that door. But then I started to notice all these other things. So I would say in my 30s and 40s, but I have to add a but to this. It was also then that I really delved into exploring and staying at what was believed to be haunted bed and breakfasts. And as I went to more bed and breakfasts, I started obviously picking up things, noticing things, and realizing that I was getting attachments and things like that. And so there's a lot to this, but what really started the bed and breakfast thing, and I don't know if you have the picture offhand, but I'll describe it to everybody. So a tornado kind of ripped through my grandparents' rural property, and I went there to see to make sure the house was okay. And when I was there, you could hear this electric buzzing in the air, and the trees were down, but they didn't hit the house, and all kinds of things. And it was on a limestone base and everything, so it was just perfect for a storm and bringing up energy. And I was just walking around photographing the house from the outside. And I did not notice this at the time, but I did photograph in a screen. It's a screen, not a plate window. There's a difference. A screen window, what turned out to be a little girl and an older man, and believed to be my great grandfather and my great aunt, who was 6 years old at the time, died at 10. And he looked 70, died close to 80. And they showed in the window. And it was at that point I learned I was telepathic, because when I processed my pictures, I went back and I asked, there it is. Thank you. Take a look at that window. That's pretty remarkable. That is not face matrixing, by the way. That is actual. Thank you for showing that. And so I went back and I said, looked at the window, and that's a screen, by the way. That's not a plate window. I asked, you have now captured my attention. What do you need of me? That's what I asked the window, because I noticed them. And what came to me was telepathically, which is like something talking in your head, your genealogy is wrong. And so the thing with it, though, is that I said, genealogy, what? And then it dawned on me, I'm the genealogist in the family. I know but I wrote her name down wrong in the records. And basically she was right. The little girl, or they were right. She was wrong. I was wrong. And I stood corrected. And that's when I learned that I could actually sometimes channel and hear voices. They're not they're not male, they're not female, they're not children. They're just some kind of a voice that comes in and gives me directions or tells me things. And I just seem to have a knowing. And then when I spit these things out, people kind of look at you like you're a little bizarre, but then it turns out to be accurate and right. And then they wonder how you did that. And it's like, things just talk to me once in a while. So that's when I learned I was telepathic. And that's when I said, if I can hear them, if I can see them now through my camera, I'm going to go to as many bed and breakfasts as possible, and I'm going to see if I can make contact with other apparitions, ghosts, or whoever. And that, by the way, also included jumping over the pond to Scotland and Wales, and also I think I had an experience in the Netherlands, and so yeah, that led it all the way over the pond. I wanted to see if the energies were the same or different. Very interesting experiences that I had over in your neck of the woods. So yeah.
Yeah, now I'm curious. It's is the energy different over
Um,
here and in the States?
okay, so I went over, I'm going to tell a little bit of the story. So I wanted to know if it was stronger or different or whatever. And the answer to that is I think it depends on where you are. Because if you go over here to like a state hospital or some kind of an asylum or a sanatorium where a lot of death occurred and there's a lot of unsettled energies, you will find that they can be remarkably strong. And when I went over, I researched and I said, where in Europe can I go that's going to give me an experience that is going to be shocking? And what I found was there's many places. By the way, I've had several. But the one that stands out as the most shocking, and there's a picture of this, if you're able to pull it up, it's the one with the cycling mirror. And I can tell you the story on that. So it was Prince Rupert's Hotel. I cannot recall offhand if that's in Wales or I can't remember, Wales or Scotland. It was quite a few years ago. There it is. All right, that's me right there with the mask over my face. I am absolutely terrified, and I'm absolutely, so let me tell you the mini bite story of this room. So I went over there wanting to have a chapter in my book, and I said, I want to be in the most haunted room in this hotel, because they didn't assign them until you got there. They said to me, no, we're not putting you in the most haunted room in this hotel because you're going to be downstairs in 20 minutes laying on my couch. I don't want you downstairs and it'll scare people. I'll put you in the second most haunted room. Yeah, well, you know what? I give this room to be number one personally. So we were going upstairs to bring our luggage up. And I immediately walked through, if anyone knows what an electrical cobweb feels like, it feels like you're walking through a cobweb, but it's electrifying. And so you sizzle, you kind of get jolted. And I felt it. And so did the manager assistant who was bringing us to this room. The room, by the way, was in a 900-year-old property. It was amazing there. You could not find your way out, even if you tried. So she had to bring us to the room. We get to the room. She says, you have to knock on the door and ask permission to go into this room. I said, that's crazy. She says, no, it's not. Otherwise, it's not going to let you in. Knock, knock, knock. May we come in? Do you know that dreadful feeling that you get every time you're somewhere and it just kind of weighs you down? Kind of a sick feeling. That's the feeling I got when we walked into the room. Inside this room, there are a number of things that happened. My husband is not a believer. He's, well, he is now, but he was not. Yeah, he's now a believer. But anyway, he was like, oh, dog and pony show. They're just trying to scare us. Handprints on the pillow. There was something odd about that mirror that you see to the right. That mirror caught my eye right off the bat. You see to the left a wardrobe. That wardrobe was open in the morning, but what happened was this. So a bulb was burnt out. I wanted to keep the light on all night. We went down for supper or dinner, however you refer to it there. And essentially the manager came down and asked for our key. And I said, why? And she said, because the ghost in the room won't let the janitor in to change the bulb. Oh, here's my husband. Dog and pony show. Here we go. I said, no, I don't think so. All right. So she goes up there. They get that all. We go back up after we're done eating. Sure enough, there are handprints on my pillow. They're not allowed to touch anything, but that's where they were. We go into the room. I offered up champagne and chocolates just to make peace with whatever was in there, just to be nice. And then the real trouble started. So it's about bedtime. My husband takes out the holy water. He goes, I'm going to bless this bed that we're going to sleep in. He throws the holy water. This is absolutely true what happened. He froze in midair like this. The holy water was kind of frozen in midair. Look at that cycling mirror to the right. All of a sudden, if you can see me down below, I'll show you what it started by doing. It was like this to start out to begin with, straight down. Then it went like this, nah, 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 kind of like this, as if it was like loosening the screws on it. And then it started, I kid you not, to cycle around. He's facing towards the bed. I'm on the side of the wardrobe looking at the mirror. I noticed this thing taunting me. I absolutely went into a panic attack. And if anyone has ever had a panic attack, you burn up like you're just burning up, right? And so I was burning up. My husband kind of then shakes out of it. I point to the mirror. It's laying on its belly like this. And I said, oh my God, right? And so I couldn't sleep. His personality changed. He was like, I'm not having anything to do with you. I'm not having anything to do with this room. I'm going to sleep. And he did. He lied down, and that's him. He just went to right to sleep. There I am praying to God that the thing in there won't hurt me. And it was cycling around me. It sat on my knees. It then laid on top of my body as if I was maybe laying in its spot, but its cold, icy cold presence felt so good that anyone who's having a panic attack knows that that actually helped to cool down. Look at the wardrobe. In the morning, the wardrobe was open, and it's like I had like maybe a half hour of sleep to an hour of sleep. We pack up, we go downstairs, we're now leaving, and the manager says to me, can I have you come back upstairs? I have a question about something in that room. No way, I said. I'm not going back up in that room. I said, I got my chapter. Thank you so very much. But guess what? We went back up to the room. Go to the room, knock, knock, knock. Can we come in? Blah, blah, blah. And she comes over and she points to the cycling mirror. And she goes, there's something odd about this mirror. I said, you darn right there's something odd about that mirror. Take that mirror out to the back, smash it into 1,000 pieces. I don't ever want to see that mirror again. And by the way, they had 4 mirrors pointing at each other in the room. One behind me, one in front of me, to each of the sides, which created a natural portal for something to come in and out of that. Long story short, we go to the mirror, and this is what she says to me. Every time my maid is vacuuming the floor, the bottom of the mirror lifts up and hits her in the butt. I said, oh, a flirty little thing too. I said, more reason to bring that thing outside. Now smash it into 2,000 pieces. I said, thank you so very much. Get rid of the mirror. They still have it, I'm sure. Get rid of the mirror. I've got my chapter. You've been more than gracious. Thank you so much. But the next day, I have to tell you, whatever was in that room followed, I wouldn't say followed me, lit me up like like fireworks, because we went to another bed and breakfast the next day, and I'll just be brief on this story. The story is about was also somewhere in Wales, I believe. And so what was interesting about this story is that 80 hunting dogs of the owner of past was literally buried, all of them, with a tombstone on the property. It was very fascinating. So, you're going around looking at all the tombstones, looking at all the names of the dogs. And of course, guess what happened that night? So I'm laying in bed. Of course, I said, I need some peace. I just need some rest. I don't want any hauntings tonight. Next thing you know it, what do you think is crawling on top of me? You know how the feet of dogs feel when they're kind of spindly, and they're like walking on, and it's like, oh my God, something is walking on top of me. And I started kicking and kicking and kicking. And I said, I need my rest. Get out of here. Nobody else bother me tonight. So I am like a firework, Christmas tree, lighthouse, beacon. I'm always on for business. I know this of myself. I attract everything. If it's haunted, it'll come to me, guaranteed. But the thing is that most interesting experiences over there. Could it happen here? Yes. If you have animals, especially those that are deceased, they can still come back once in a while. I've had this in several cases. My husband had a cat crawling on top of his feet. That's why he's a believer now, because he believes this stuff, because these things happen. Cat crawling on top of his feet, ghost cat. It's very interesting for those of you that have had animals that have passed away. Ask yourself the question: have they come around once in a while, or were they around before they felt good about leaving, and then they might have gone over the rainbow? So anyway, sorry, that was a little bit long, but I wanted to put those two together.
No, that's
No
fine.
problem at all. The
Perfectly
show
fine.
is about our guest. And even if you talk 1.5 hours and we just comment in between, it's fine by us.
That's the show,
Yeah,
and I like listening. So
exactly.
Well, I'm here to teach you something tonight about black-eyed kids too, by the way.
Yeah,
That one is going to be viewer discretion is advised.
yep.
Better if you have children, I suggest you don't show them this program. So anyway,
Yep. Not a good idea. It's 18 plus. So I
yeah.
forgot to put something on. Oh, that's bad.
yeah.
Oh, that's bad.
Oh, the
There's
band.
supposed to be a line. Oh, that's the wrong one.
Oh my God, Shane.
It all looks alike.
Yeah, it does.
It's very long, and it both says 18 plus. So
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the
sorry.
point.
Yeah.
See, something has to go wrong.
Yeah.
I might have lit that one up. And if by chance I blow up your station tonight, I'm sorry. But I can even, oh, and by the way, I wanted to add one more thing since you asked about being psychokinetic and telekinetic. I was on a plane coming back from Europe, and I thought about my clock next to my bed. And when we got home, guess what? That clock was exactly 6 hours ahead. And I can think it sometimes. And so I went to a conference in Las Vegas. This is how I learned, this is how I changed my mind about possibly being in the presence of something extraterrestrial, because I wasn't a believer up until that conference. But I started to really buy into something was really odd about me, because I started noticing all these additional things happening too. And one of the things that they brought up in this conference, which I thought about because I fly a lot, is I really have to, how some people can bend spoons? Well, there's a trick to it, by the way, but I learned the trick on how you bend a spoon. But the thing is, it's like he did say, if you have a very powerful mind, and I learned when I was 24 from a psychic that I had a very, very powerful mind, and I had to be careful about how to use it. And I didn't believe her at first until a couple things happened that were so devastating that I knew I had a hand in it, and I felt guilty. I've been feeling guilty about it the rest of my life. But the thing is I'm like on a plane, and it's like the last thing you want is to all of a sudden have electrical problems because somebody on the plane is a little bit more charged. So I know a lot of people don't think about that, but there are some of us that actually can affect things to a level that is kind of scary. So anyway, I thought I'd throw that one at you, but
No, that it's fine. Totally fine.
Absolutely.
Black-eyed kids. Which picture do you want to start with? Because I
All
got
right.
3 of them.
Okay. And by the way, everyone, I have some notes. I want you to start with the one with the boy with the carnival, the carousel.
Yeah.
The carousel. And I just want you to hold it there. And then I'm going to talk to everybody.
There we go.
There you go.
We can do it like this a little. No, we're gonna
It's okay. Go
get
full
this
screen.
away. There
That's
we go.
good. There, that's perfect. That's perfect. Really good. All right. So I wouldn't be a good little interviewee if I didn't give you some background about not only black-eyed kids, but white-eyed kids and reptilian-eyed kids. So I just want you to go on a little journey with me for a moment, and then I will tell you the two stories. Yes, two encounters, but then I want you to think about which one of these did we, and I say we, and I'll explain in a moment, experience. But first, some education. All right. So there are such things as black-eyed kids out there. Yes. There are things as white-eyed kids out there too. You don't hear about them very often. And there's also reptilian-eyed kids as well. To break them down in the most simplistic way, and I got this is really great. I pulled this from the web, and you can't believe everything you read on the web, but you know what? I do agree with some of this stuff. So black-eyed kids in general, most people think they're like age maybe 6 to 16 usually, although I have to say that depends. All right. Because of the stories I'm going to tell you about in just a moment. White-eyed kids, and their behavior is very begging, and they like to be persistent. And I have had that experience, which you'll hear about in just a moment. There's also these white-eyed kids. You don't hear about them very much, but what's really interesting, and I looked this up yesterday because I wasn't really onto that until now. I'm like, they are actually what is called masters of telepathic messengers, to warn, to bring about harm, or to impend doom on somebody to the point of death. That one I want you to remember as well, because I'm going to give you some, okay? Reptilian-eyed children. I've never seen one. I hope I never see one. They are like more shape-shifting, and they're more what they're called alien humanoids, which they're up to no good. That's basically what it is in a nutshell, okay? All right, so keeping some of that in mind, there also, you'll find that black-eyed kids oftentimes are kind of pale, and they kind of wear normal clothing. I want you to keep that in mind. Then white-eyed kids, this is interesting, pale, but often wearing more older fashion clothing. And of course, the shapeshifters are trying to fit in, even though they don't fit in. So they're trying to wear whatever, but they're kind of a humanoid. All right. Now, one more thing, one more aspect on behavior. I've told you before about how the black-eyed kids kind of beg and they're persistent. Hold that into your mind, please. The white-eyed kids are more silent and telepathic, and they stare a lot. Hold that into your mind, please. What am I? I'm also telepathic, right? So just keep that back here. And then reptilians, they're more of, they'll stand back and they'll just kind of watch, and then they'll try to shapeshift, or they'll take action when they think they can do probably the most damage or harm, or whatever the case may be. All right, so let's start with the first story. This happened, and then I'll tell you, Shane, when to put the second image up, which, by the way, will be the image that I call Imagine This as a Boy. And I'll just hold off on that. This is viewer discretion advised at this point. This is not something to take lightly. This is very serious stuff. So just bear with me. So it was a couple years ago. I would say maybe 3-4 years ago. I need to give you a little bit more background of me. I have a law background. Was in law for 8 years. I was trained to think very logically and very right to the point. Okay. There's the other side of me that's very creative. So I'm kind of like a Libra, creative, logical, get split once in a while. And so I always question a lot of things. And then I was a college professor for 20 years. So there's the education side of me that I like to bring up to people. So my husband and I moved back to my home state of Minnesota from being on many jobs all over the place for 30 years. And I needed to just do something. So one of the places that I used to help run and assist was, and we're well known in the United States, we're like ranked number 1 to number 2 always, the Minnesota State Fair. Now I'm going to tell you something right off the bat. Hauntings and these incidences can happen anywhere. It's just not there. It's just not here. They can happen in a mall. They can happen out on the street. They can happen during a busy carnival. They can happen anywhere. They can happen over in Europe, anytime, any place. I know I've had enough experiences over there to be able to say this whole world is haunted. Okay. So I took a position, kind of like a manager position, graveyard, which is like 12 midnight to 7 in the morning. And in a horse barn of all things, which I don't know anything about horses, but I know how to manage, and I know how to be observant, and I know how to watch for things. Okay. So here I am going to work this one day, just a few minutes away from the situation, which, by the way, a person who is a very dear friend of mine, who can, by the way, turn clocks backwards 2 hours, by the way, because she's also very good. I just missed the situation by a hair, but she gave me so much detail that I can tell this with confidence. So what happened is we have $1 million horses with really strong competitors. And so, you know how that is. You got to be very serious at your job. We hand out keys so they can take their showers, and we have showers inside the building. And then, you know, they go to bed, and then they get up with their horses and they do their thing and go and compete the next day. All right. My one gal friend, who was my coworker, alerted me to the fact that a competitor came up to the horse window, you know, the office window, and said, "There's a kid in my shower. There's a kid in your shower. How can that be? The doors are locked. No one can get into these showers. What do you mean there's a kid in your shower?" So she goes with this competitor woman to the shower. Okay. Knock, knock, knock. No response. Get the key, open the door. Kid didn't have a key, but the kid was in the shower. He was standing in the room by the sink and remember the descriptions I gave earlier, in a little bit of outdated clothes. Head was bowed down, hair over the eyes, brown hair. And she said, "Please come out of the shower. Please come here." So he slowly comes out of the shower and walks around, and he's standing by a pillar. Okay. Standing by a pillar. And he's just like this. His head is bowed down. His hair is over his eyes. He's kind of shaggy. He's in these kind of a little bit of outdated clothes. And she's trying to ask him questions. She goes, "Can tell us, how did you get into that shower room?" Because he didn't have a key. There wasn't anything in there. He wouldn't respond. He sat there and he just stared. And he was solemn like that. And he wouldn't move. Okay. The horse woman was standing there, kind of watching and everything. And then another one starts to approach with a horse in hand with the collar, right? They're going to go out and walk their horse before before. And the horse took one look at this kid and just, you know how a horse backs up when it's like, oh no, and it starts to back up. That's what it was doing. And then it started to squeal. Squeal, squeal, squeal. Oh my, squeal. Okay. And so the thing is that my coworker is trying to get some answers out of this kid. The competitor is standing there kind of wondering what the heck. And this other person is trying to get control of their horse because it will not go 1 foot further because of this kid. It just absolutely will not. So then this is what happened at this point. When the horse started to get really rambunctious and back up, they both turned to make sure that the horse was under control because there's people in there. Now, put up the picture. This is what happened next. Keep going, right there. All right. The kid raises his head up to my coworker. Imagine this as a boy with short brown hair, kind of my color, I suppose, a little darker, probably down to here, bangs over the eyes, though, over the eyes. And he looks up at her. He starts to grin. And those are the exact teeth that when he grinned, he looked like a monster, like this photograph that you're looking right now. The one thing I asked her about was, can you tell me about his eyes? Can you tell me, were they dark? Were they black? What were they? She said, I couldn't tell. His bangs were over him. And when he showed me his teeth, I completely freaked out. I looked at the horse, and when we turned around, he was gone. Literally. This is not an exaggeration. This is really what happened. The competitor and her kind of rushed out the door to see where he was running to. And the alley was completely blank. There's nothing in the alley. There's nowhere to hide. He was just gone. Now, let me tell you of something that hit me last night as I was preparing for this interview. If this kid could have been a white-eyed kid instead of a black-eyed kid, it mentions here silence, telepathic and staring, outdated clothes, motionless, has nothing to say. This all of a sudden started to hit me. And not only that, what is their mission? Their mission is like an angel of death, and to potentially warn or bring about or impend some doom. So the story's not over with yet. So she's freaking out. She comes in. I just arrived like seconds, minutes. She is grabbing onto me. I'm holding her. She's completely distraught. She couldn't believe what she just saw. She knew it was some kind of a monster. She didn't know what this was. And so I need to preface this with two thoughts, okay? Two thoughts going in this direction. One, about eight so years ago, before that moment, there was a boy across the way in the cattle barn that committed suicide, and he hung himself. That might have explained possibly an energy of this boy that came over. Remember, I attract, and she would also attract a lot of this ghostly and apparition energy and activity. So because of that, we know we're beacons, and things would just come to us. And so I thought, wow, was this the kid that killed himself, that took possession of or channeled or took possession of this kid? And then, but because he disappeared like that, or was he some type of an interdimensional being or whatever? But not done yet. Story gets a little bit more interesting. So I'm trying to settle her down. I'm trying to settle down because I know what she went through was very real and very weird and very creepy, and the horse and everything's going on. Guess what happened overnight? While she's done with her shift, she's gone. I'm there by myself. Guess what happened overnight? One of the horses was essentially dying in its pen. Now, if it's true that this only pertains to humans, can it also pertain to animals? A warning, impeding death, wanting to cause death. Was it the same horse that jumped up and down? I cannot recall. I do not remember. But I do remember that all of a sudden, one of the horses, and we've had to pull horses out of there, very sad stories when they get colic. Anyone who knows anything about horses and colic know that they will die if you don't somehow get them up and get them moving fast enough. Well, guess what? That was a very interesting thing. But was the kid there to make himself known, to scare, to come across, to visit beacons that are, very bright and like something can relate to them? And I'm there and I'm constantly attracting this stuff. Very, very interesting, very, very interesting story. So before I go on to the second story, does anyone have any questions or do you guys have any thoughts before I go on to the next story?
No, I think you have a point there if I think about it. When I listen to the story, it adds up with the theory that you found on the internet. So I think you might be onto something. Definitely.
Yeah. The eyes would not confirm. She could not. All she saw were those teeth. That's when I said, "Is this what you saw?" And she just, starts freaking out all over again. Just like, "Oh my God, it's the kid." But what were the eyes? What did the eyes look like? But I want you guys to think about for a moment about this type of energy, because I'm always asking, what exactly have I encountered with every experience that I have? I always ask, what exactly was it? Spiritual? Was it paranormal? Was it extraterrestrial? Was it this, that? Was it something like this? I'm always asking the question, because just about the time you think you've got it nailed, like last night, I said there was a horse that nearly died, nearly died on my watch. The day that that situation happened, I thought, why can't this pertain to animals too? Because
Yeah.
animals get affected by these energies all the time as well. So, and I've heard of stories like that. So, anyway,
Yeah, you do have a few question from Phil.
okay.
Hello, Dr. Kelly. Do black-eyed kids have a protocol to adhere to when interacting with people, especially when they ask to enter a car or house?
Oh, yeah. So, um, I will answer that question on my second story. How's that? Are you okay with that? All right, I'll answer that question because it's coming. Put up the picture of the two boys,
I have
if
to
you would.
look for
Yeah,
it.
get there.
There we are.
There you go. Lovely boys, aren't they?
They
Okay,
are
so
very cute.
yeah, and bangs
Especially,
that
I love their eyes.
I know, don't you? And don't you love the fact that the bangs are almost down
Yep.
past their eyes? you know. All right, so getting into black-eyed kids, most people know a black-eyed kids, like I said, from 6 to 16, give or take, and they usually are operating in pairs of twos rather than pairs of one. Well, I'm going to give you a story now that I'm going to actually question that theory, just because the experience I had was so overly bizarre that I'm going to have to question that theory. Okay. All right. So here's my answer for you, agenda wise. Okay. So let's see. So the black-eyed kid that happened, or the white-eyed kid, who was one or the other one, happened with this woman. My experience came the next year. I had also started noticing that, where, like I said, wherever I am, here they come. And what midnight shift, wonderful time to show up, right? At any time. Okay. So I'm in the office by myself. I'm managing it, the midnight shift. Not blind to ghostly activity and things happening in there. That place, the horse barn, used to be a place they used to make airplane parts years prior. So there are things that happened in that building. Someone might have gotten killed in there, whatever. But anyway, so we have off duty people, kind of like police, but not really, watching over these buildings from midnight until the fair starts the next day. And you'd be surprised what goes on at a fair or anywhere during the midnight hours. Okay. The one deputy guy, and it was a guy, so it was a guy and a gal, and they sleep in the aisle and an aisle where the horses are because they're tired. They're up all night, they need a break. And so, anyway, they're sleeping in an aisle when his eyes opened up, and I would say about the height of the kid on the left. All right. And so his eyes open up, and there's this kid, literally, not a kid, it was actually a young adult, was standing there just staring at him. And I'll keep in mind that the horse barn is kind of dark and everything's kind of calm, and people are sleeping with their horses, so you don't want to make a lot of noise in there because you're dealing with big time people. Okay. Anyway, so he looks up, he freaks out, and he's remaining calm. And the kid, or this guy, starts saying weird stuff to him, like things that anybody knows about, what is this? So, well, that's a toothpick. Everybody knows that's a toothpick. He's asking questions that are just kind of, what? Just really weird. So the deputy gets up and he comes to the office window where I'm at, and he says to me, "We have an intruder." I said, "What do you mean we have an intruder?" I said, "The fair is closed. This building is closed. There shouldn't be anyone in here except exhibitors. Are you sure he's not an exhibitor?" No, he's not an exhibitor, and he's asking questions that don't make any sense at all, like common questions that anyone would know. All right. So I said, and then as he was saying this, I watched I would say it was around 24 to 26. This guy walk from pen to pen, looking in these horse pens as if he's seeing something new, like, wow, look at this for the very first time. So I'm watching him and he's coming down the aisle, and I said, stay here. Because of course, who's in charge of the horse? Me. All right. So I go out and I said, if he does anything to me, please come out and save me. Please help me. And so I walk up to this kid, and I was very quiet and patient and not, because I got people in there, right? I got horses in there. And I said, I'm sorry to say, but the fair is closed. And what are you doing in here? I have to keep in mind one thing. It was raining cats and dogs. It was raining so hard out, so hard that no one would want to go outside. You'd be soaking wet. He was bone dry. So the first thing I noticed was how dry he was, considering it's like, he should still be wet if he's coming in from outside. This is something really weird about this kid. And he's standing there. And now, to answer your question, like all black-eyed kids do, they have an agenda. I need you to invite me into your office. You can't come into my office because that's off limits. It's only for me. I need you to invite me in. I need to come into your office. One of the things black-eyed kids do with cars, homes, places, spaces, is they have to be invited in. And if you say no, they know the rule that they're not supposed to. Where white-eyed kids, by the way, will just show up in your house. So that's the difference between black-eyed and white-eyed kids, is that they will just magically appear in your house. And you're like, right? And so I said, no, you can't come in. My friends are going to be here real soon. They're going to come in. They're going to come and get me and pick me up. Oh, now keep in mind, this is a 24 to 26-year-old guy. And I'm sitting here going, he is talking like a black-eyed kid. And he is like 24 to 26 years old. And he is literally mimicking a child that's a black-eyed kid. And I said, oh my God. And I was like inches from him. So now I'm trying to smell if he's got alcohol on his breath, or if I can pick up anything, and look at his eyes. And I said, please, God, don't turn black. Whatever, just do not turn black. And because if they did, I probably would have fainted right there. The deputy then has a gal, and they're approaching me from behind. And I'm just nonchalantly, and then I turn around and go, well, he wants to come into the office, but I can't let him in there. So we're just going to have to put him somewhere so his friends can come and pick him up. And see, I know that whole lingo. When you're a black-eyed kid and you enter somebody's house, your parents are going to come to get you soon. And then all of a sudden when they leave or whatever. So and people are known when they're in the presence of a black-eyed kid or children like this, they can get sick. They can get violently sick. They can be under some kind of unusual, I don't want to call it possession or channeling or something like that. They do have an agenda, and the agenda is not necessarily to sit there and say, gee, thanks for the snack. No, it's not that at all. I don't even know if they're leaving energy or what it is, but I have known of situations where people have gotten very, very sick by letting these kids into their car, into their house, or whatever. Well, anyway, how did we get him out of there? I had to sting him. Talk about being on a TV show, I quietly brought him over to a bench. He was freezing. One of the things about these kids is that they'll also say, I'm cold, I'm freezing. Yes, it was cold and freezing and raining out, but I still wasn't going to let him into the office. No way. And I knew that his friends were going to come to get him because the property was completely shut down. So the thing is, it's like I had to get him out of there in the quietest way, just like a murder mystery. When you see him dragging the legs out of the door, that's kind of how it was, kind of. But what I did is I had the policeman come in, go around with his car, block the front door. And then I had him sitting at the bench and being blocked. So he really couldn't run per se. It took 15 minutes for the policeman to convince him to get into the car. Now, this story has an interesting twist. He gets into the car. I refused to investigate that further, but here's what's interesting. Any of you ever been to a carnival before? Might remember maybe like a water balloon game where you're shooting a pistol and the balloon blows up because it's a water balloon game. So years ago, when I was younger, I used to win lots of stuffed animals for sick kids in hospitals. And I won a lot of stuffed animals because I was good at it. But guess what I figured out? This guy came from the carnival. And not only that, they're not allowed to leave the carnival. They have to stay on the premises. We don't know how long he was in the barn for. He was bone dry and he was talking really weird. And I used to play the water game where this guy had a different voice and he sounded different in the whole 10 yards. And I kid you not, he was under some kind of, I'm going to use the word possession here. He wasn't being channeled by something, or was he? Whatever that energy was got into him. And I'm like, oh my word, this is the guy from the carnival that I used to play these games years ago. This kid's been with the carnival for years. So I don't know if he's still there or not, but I'm telling you, the friends, the talking, the mimicking, the whole 10 yards, complete black-eyed all the way, except no, his eyes did not go black standing there, but whatever was inside of him took possession of his body and had no fear in approaching me and talking to me like a black-eyed kid. So I have to add to that dialogue about black-eyed kids, or the question on what energy is that they're able to jump in, and which is called transfiguration, by the way, jump inside of another individual. So there's that. Those are the two stories. I stopped working at the fair after that episode. I came to realize that all I was doing was attracting these energies into that barn, and I was not going to be responsible or accused of bringing that stuff in there or hurting or harming or whatever, anything, because I was known as the paranormal girl. Yeah. And so that's why I hadn't been back since. So that's the black-eyed story. I mean, there's a lot to it. Very interesting if you Google it, but what exactly is it? Was it? Could it be? I don't know. I'd have to stretch those theories out a little bit. So
yeah, especially with the new theory you now found.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I have to research everything.
Yeah. Yes. Research, but also question what you think you might be dealing with. Yep. Like with the kid, the silence and this and that, the white-eyed kid. He might have been a white-eyed kid, or he might have been a semi-white-eyed kid. She just couldn't see his eyes, but the bangs were over here and everything else screamed white-eyed kid and warning of something. Now, call that a coincidence. Some people might say, oh, that's a coincidence. This stuff happens all the time. It might happen all the time. But You know what? That was quite a coincidence. So
definitely. Kelvin says creepy gangster.
Yeah.
And Marine says hi. There are some more images you sent me, and I had a question about the next one because it's not really it's pretty clear what's being said here, but what's the story behind it?
Oh, okay.
Let's see.
All right. So remember when I told you around maybe 3 to 5, I started to have these visions in my dreams. The next age was like 8 to 13 when I would be at my grandparents' house. And this was when I was told, no, the house isn't haunted. It's your imagination. You're there by yourself. You're making this stuff up. Stop your anxiety, blah, 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 stuff like that. Well, I was in my grandparents' house. They were gone. They were out shopping. And I was sleeping. I was after school, and I was sleeping. on the couch. And I woke up and I heard a lot of commotion in the kitchen. And it sounded like a party was going on. I thought, how on earth did they get home without me hearing the door open and close and all that? So I got up, and you know what it's like when you're groggy. You're like, So you go to I went to the frame of the door of the kitchen, and as soon as I got there, it all stopped. So what you're looking at here was when I was around maybe 9 to 13, and I had my first clairaudient experience of actually hearing something going on that was happening in the house, but it wasn't there. And when I went to the door and recognized that it was bone dead silent, I mean, dead silent, I stood there and I broke out in a sweat and I said, oh no. And I thought, there's something weird going on here. And I turned around and I walked out to their porch, and I would not go into the house after that point. I would stand out in that porch for even during snowstorms and being cold, because it was like, there's something going on in there. I knew it. And I knew it wasn't just me. And so what this is it's you're learning for the first time and I'm learning for the first time that I actually was clairaudient, and I actually heard things that went silent when I entered the room. That's what that picture's about.
Cool. That's clear for me now. I was looking at this picture. I was like, there has to be a story behind this one.
Yeah.
Well, I don't look like that guy, but you know what? I mean, I had my artist draw this up for me, and I thought, good enough. That's me, everybody. So
Great artist.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
Exceptional artist. Yes.
definitely.
truly.
Exceptional. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's see. Because now I have to grab back my.
I know I sent him a lot of pictures,
Yeah.
I have to look him up again. Hello, computer.
Yeah. Wake up.
I think I have to.
Yeah. Have to say goodbye to Chris. He just watched. So
Oh.
have a great day.
Hi, Chris. Let's see. Because you wrote some books,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and I'm very curious about those. Why do you not? Okay, we'll just start with this one. That's fine. Let's see. I'm going to share screen again. No, that's the wrong one. Why is this not working? Is this working? Can't share screen. Why can't we not
Do you have the picture of the handprint?
handprint? No, I don't think so.
You have it, but it's somewhere in your folder. So things have started to evolve for me to a point where in a house that I had lived in prior to the one I'm in now was very not just became haunted, but there was some what I believe extraterrestrial activity going on in that house as well. And so and you have it, you might have to just, while I tell the story, see if you can grab it from even Facebook. When I sent you all those pictures, you might be able to grab it there. And so one night I went to bed, and I work very late because of what I do. And it was around 2:00 in the morning, and I laid down, and all of a sudden this really odd, wafting, disgusting smell came over and to the point where you pull the covers up over your nose because it smelled so bad. And so I blame my husband. So for all you husbands out there, you're going to be the first person we blame always on everything. So sorry, but that's just how we are. And so I thought, wow, what kind of shampoo is my husband wearing? Oh my God, it's awful. And so anyway, the next day I got up and I was going into the restroom, and I looked into the mirror, and you might be able to pull off, if you see Shane, the image of one of the covers of my books. If you have those 4 pictures, you will see this is the image I'm talking about. So see if you can find those book covers that I had, and then you can show them what it looked like when I had it. So anyway, what I discovered was a handprint right here, but it was, there you go. Thank you. That's it. This handprint showed up on my body. It was blood red purple. It was embedded, and there was long fingers to it. So it wasn't just the short fingers there. It was actually long, and it was in the other direction, you know. And so I looked at it, and you could just imagine my eyes bugging out, going, what on earth is that? Now, there's a story to it. The story is that I had COVID so badly, I almost died twice, and I passed out once, and I mean, it was pretty bad. And I had bronchial pneumonia here, and I had regular pneumonia here. This one, the doctor told me it was going to take months to get that unclogged because COVID pneumonia is like a blockage with kind of turns into cement, you know, so you got to keep it going to get it out of there. So I had to use this device and all this sort of thing. So anyway, right here. All right. So now this handprint is on my body. And we took pictures of it and I show it all the time, but this is the best I can do for you tonight. And it stayed on my body for 3 hours in the same coloration and intensity that it was. Okay. And then all of a sudden it just disappeared. All right. That was strange because it just didn't like gradually fade. It just left. All right. So I have pictures of it, blah, blah, blah. And then I went on my research to see how many people have reported having handprints on their bodies and where they showed up. Imagine for a moment having handprints on the back of your body or on your back, and you never know it because you don't ever look at a mirror, have a mirror behind you that will ever show it, right? Well, guess what? I didn't have anything on my back, but this was very disturbing. So then I went on a mission to figure out how common this was. I only found 900 to 1,000 reports, but you know there are more. People have sent me their pictures of their handprints on their bodies, et cetera, et cetera. And so basically then I started asking the universe, would somebody please tell me who put that handprint on my body? Because I was having really weird experiences in my house. And it just so happens I had a camera up, infrared camera, that was right over my head where it seemed to be an entry point and a portal for things coming through it. But I was trying to capture something more outlined. Okay. All right. Anyway, long story short, it took a while. I asked 5 psychics, who put that handprint on my body? Who put that there? Blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. Oh, it's a succubus. Oh, it's an old woman's hand. Oh, it's your hand. It's not my hand. I don't have crooked fingers. One of the fingers was predominantly crooked and it was very clear. That was not my hand. Okay. And one guy psychic said to me, I think, he says, that's a mantis being because they're healers. Where did it is? It was right here. Did you have a clog there? Yes, I did. He says, mantis beings are healers. Now, if you're able to, Shane, are you able to find the mantis being picture? And are you able to find the one that I think it was after the mantis being? I'm just going to have you do that for the moment while I talk about it. One night, I had a dream. And during this dream, something very unusual happened. I saw in my dream a young lady walking away from me, what appeared to be a young lady walking away from me. And she looked like she was in regular clothes until she turned around. And that's when I realized and came to realize who put the handprint on me. And I know it's in your folder, Shane. It's the one with the gray and also the one that looks like a human being. And I have them next to each other, and it's kind of like a split picture. If you can see that, you'll see it. Go through those pictures I sent you.
Let me see.
Yep. Well, okay. And so when this thing turned around, the thing had looked like a humanoid, black COVID mask over its nose. Eyes were very big, like a mantis being or a gray. And all of a sudden, I was telling this guy it had a black COVID mask. He goes, black COVID mask? Doesn't that sound familiar? Yes. COVID, making associations. I'm like, yes. But it scared me so much that I woke up in a sweat. I was screaming, I don't ever want to see you again. Don't ever come near me again. But yet I kind of know in the back of my head now that it might not have been It might have been a mantis, but I don't think it was a mantis. I think it was a gray. And that was the picture that I have sent you. If you do find it, throw it up there because I think they'd be interested. The thing had hair split down the middle, down the sides, literally like that, had this mask over it and the big eyes. And I wonder to this day if it was not some kind of a gray or a humanoid slash shape-shifting gray or whatever. But I began to re-question what that might have been. But the fingers were very mantisy. They were.
Found
And
it.
did you find it?
Of course.
Okay.
But I have to look for it because now I can't.
It's
A
okay.
mess.
So there's the mantis one, and then there's the gray, and then there's the human looking thing. There's the one that it looked like in the thing. There's those eyes. There's that triangular face, and there's the split down the middle, but turned around and all that. That if you put that face over that person's face and pull that hair back, and it was brown, or it looked brown to me, that is what it looked like in my dream. And I've never seen it since. But the handprint was, and I've never had another handprint on me. But people ask me all the time if they think I'm marked. And the answer to that is I believe I am. In some way, I believe I am marked. So, because they come to me. And that one helped me. So they're not all bad. That one was a miraculous healer. I've had miraculous healings before. And that was just another situation. Oh, and by the way, the blockage, gone. Completely clear.
Cool.
No issues. Yeah. So that brings up a lot of questions as to what are we experiencing out here? That's really what the question always is going to lean toward. What is this energy? Who is this energy? Is it an energy? Has it been here longer than we have? I mean, there's so many questions to this that it's very interesting. So
Definitely is.
Yeah.
It definitely is. Since I have the folder up,
Yeah.
I don't know why it's not showing in my computer, but
it's being stubborn.
this
That's what the mantis.
this is
Those,
the mantis.
Mantis.
Yeah.
and the fingers, one of those
Yep.
fingers, exactly as it looked. They
Yeah.
were very long.
They're the
That's why
pinky.
it's confusing, right? That's why it's confusing. So
Yeah.
it's hard to say. It could have been a shape-shifting interdimensional being. It's hard to say.
Yeah, could be.
But they are healers. I'm not saying everything is a nice healer. I'm just saying that they are known to be healers. So yeah. Do you have the picture of the shadow person
I think I do.
in the hallway that I shot on my birthday?
Yep.
Can you believe that? Even on my birthday, I'm having experiences.
That would
So-
be a very cool birthday present for me.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said, "Happy birthday to me." There you go.
Wow.
There we
Yeah.
are.
So let me tell you a little bit about this. It's not that I want to drag on your show, but there's so much to talk about and so many things I've been through that you just asked me and it's like, yes, I've had an experience. So on the interesting thing about this situation is that most people cannot get a reservation at these historic train bed and breakfasts. And for years I said, I really, really, really want to experience this bed and breakfast, which is a long train car, and it's a historic train car, and there's a few on the property I'm not going to say where. Most people can probably guess, and so we're in this train car, and it just so happens I was able to get a reservation on my birthday. All right, so it was evening time. We just got back from eating. It was a very small place out in rural nowhere. I mean, cornfields everywhere. Here it is. Okay, so I walked down this hallway and I said, something feels kind of creepy in this hallway. Those aren't lights, by the way. They're picking up the very faint light behind me. That's 3200 ISO camera, night vision, no flash. Okay. And so I stood there and I call it the sandwich. Snap, snap, snap. Some people call it, blah, 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 with the speed. And so I went, something's creepy in this hallway. the thing to the left, by the way, guess what that is? It's a mirror.
Mm.
Yeah, yay. And by the way, most people that don't know this know that a lot of these apparitions love to hide in mirrors. Okay, so anyway, I didn't think about that at first until I came to realize, oh my God, there's another mirror in here. Okay, so snap. Then I saw this on my film or my digital, and I went in and I went way to the other side back because my husband was in the living room. And I said, do you think this place is haunted? Because keep in mind that a lot of the parts that have restored this train car bed and breakfast room, and it's only for like a couple, like him and me, came from other places, including Europe. So any energy that could be embedded in something or including in the mirror could have come right into this. All right. So I said, do you think that this place is haunted? Look what I captured. And he's looking at it and he's not reacting because he knows if he would have said boo, I would have been out of there. I have to say something though, with all of the experiences that I've had, including any researcher or investigator, we still get scared. We still get frightened. We are not sure what we're dealing with sometimes. What on earth was that? So I filtered it, and this is what I came up with. You can probably see it right now. I could see the long brown hair in the back. I could see that it was wearing some kind of a coat. It appeared female to me or whatever. Now, you might not be able to see this very well, but look beyond the head to the back wall. That very faint image back there is not that shadow figure. That's my head. That's that very faint light that's bouncing off of something and it's projecting it on the back wall. Shadows aren't supposed to project shadows of themselves. That's what I've been told. So that's my head way in the back. But I was once again awake all night because once I captured that, I realized I wasn't alone. And so for some reason, it came out. It looks like it's looking at me, though. If it would have turned around in any respect and looked at me and I saw its face, gone. Because you know what? I just don't mess with it. But that was happy birthday to me 2 years ago in September. Pretty good capture, I would say. That one made my hometown newspaper, by the way. So there you have it.
That's a great picture.
I
Like I
know.
said, this
Absolutely.
would be a great present for my own birthday as well.
I know. It was a total shock. I just felt something weird in there. I go by my gut feeling and I'm like, I'm not feeling good. It's like there's something in here. Bingo. Wow. Right?
Yeah,
Wow.
that's amazing. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I sign up for it.
Me too.
Fine. You come to Minnesota. I show you where it is now that you know it's in Minnesota. And you just have the time of your life, you
Oh
know?
yeah.
I'm a sugar daddy.
Exactly.
Also that, yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
We have
Yeah.
a question.
Okay.
Um, Dr. Kelly, what is the green light to the right of the shadow entity?
And you know, that's a really good question. And I'll tell you why. Because I'm a professional photographer, and everyone would tell you that that's they call it, it's like a flash. Oh, God, it's not coming to my head all of a sudden.
Lens flare.
Yes, thank you. It's a lens flare. But my lens I didn't have it on. It was completely pitch black and it still showed that. I have absolutely no idea how I don't know. Is it possible? That's the next question. Is it possible for a camera to not have a flash on, create a lens flare even with it off? I can't answer that. And I'm a professional photographer. So yeah, most people would say that's a lens flare. It didn't go off. I didn't have it. It was 3200 ISO. I have no idea. They had some really in the hallway. I'm not sure of this, so don't quote me. There might have been some kind of like you know how sometimes it wasn't on, but maybe like a light or something. Somehow it picked up something and it illuminated it along with it. I have no idea. And keep in mind that mirror over there, that mirror can also do things that we often don't give it enough credit for. So I don't know, but thank you for the question. Normally it's called a lens flare. Yeah, but my
Yeah.
camera was not, it wasn't on. So
Yeah, but if it is a lens flare, it would show up even brightly in the mirror,
Yeah.
and
yeah,
you see it dimmed in the mirror.
no, and it's, if you see, it could bounce just like over to maybe the left or somewhere in the mirror. It should
Mm.
have shown something. I have no idea. You
Yeah.
know, I noticed that too, but I can tell you, nope, 3200 ISO, completely night vision, black.
Yeah.
But that faint light back there could have picked up from the very faint light in the living room, which was very far behind me, and it could have bounced off that mirror in some way, and then it could have projected that light that you see. So that's how sensitive my camera was. So
Yeah. It could be a good reason, but I've never seen it happen before.
I know, I
Not
don't
with
know,
32 ISO.
I know, I know,
It's not in my book not possible, but
I
Yeah,
know, I
that's
know.
just me.
But they always have these doohickers and stuff that they put all over the place. It's
Yeah.
hard to say what could have, maybe the mirror in some way affected that in some way and brought it to life. It's hard to say.
Yeah,
So
it
yeah,
is. But it's a very cool picture.
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Very, very cool.
Mm-hmm.
All
Mm-hmm.
right, you sent me a lot of stuff. So
Do you
let
want
me
me to?
see.
Do you have the one where I'm being kicked up in the air?
Is
Bed.
that the one with the miner on the bed?
Yep, that one.
I'll have to look for that one.
Yeah, yep. That
Fabric
one's an
control. Yeah,
interesting.
got it.
Oh, there we
Ah,
are. Now, this is an interesting story because once again, what does Kelly do? This is outside of Yosemite National Park in a place called Groveland Hotel. There is a ghost in there that's known as Lyle. Of course, I couldn't get into Lyle's room. Lyle likes to take people's cosmetics and throw them off the dresser. He gets really irritated. This was not Lyle's room. This was another room down the hallway. I thought, oh, once again, rah, rah, rah. No, not rah, rah, rah. It's like, holy cow. So we're in there. I'm not thinking much of it. I'm not thinking it's haunted or anything like that. And what happened was, perfect night up on a mountain, silver lined mountain, perfect moon, perfect stars, perfect everything. And it was probably, yeah, I'd say about 1:30 to 2:30 that in the morning when I found myself bouncing on the bed. And so what happened was, and I had to do some research for this. I had to read every journal article, like, or journal entry in the book that they had in the room. But I was literally kicked up in the air, I would say probably a good foot. And then I woke up bouncing on the bed. And I'm a snorer when I have flat pillows. So I probably irritated the miner. Yep. And what happened then? So you can't tell right there very well, but look where it says remote and socks and stuff. It was much closer to the ground. So people would find their socks underneath the bed and the remote underneath the bed and all that, where you literally couldn't get to it. I mean, you could sit there and maybe try to slide it under there, but why would anyone want to do that, right? I did find one article or one journal entry years prior where someone said the bed was shaking. Okay. I wasn't shaking. I was literally, I felt the foot of something. I felt it literally thrust me up in the air. Woof. And then boom, bitty, boom, bitty, boom, bitty. And guess what? Husband, that one, once again, why are they always sleeping when I'm being thrown around the room like a rag doll? Every single time, just go ahead, keep throwing me around the room. Help me, and he's sitting there sleeping while all this stuff is going on. But the thing is someone asked me a question that I never really thought about. And it's another really a big researcher. And he said, Kelly, are you sure you're kicked up in the air where you dropped? Okay, now keep in mind that I know that I've had visitations. I've had things happen. This was well before the handprint. And he said, what if you were dropped? Because it was perfect conditions up there. It was everything. And known to have UFO activity in the whole 10 yards. I said, I don't know. I felt the foot. Well, maybe the foot was trying to break your fall as you were bouncing on the bed. And so you hear of stories of people sometimes being abducted and being brought up into their little ship or whatever, and then brought back literally through the roof and thrown back into another spot in the room, or maybe back into the bed. And I guess people said, well, what do you think happened? And I said, I think I pissed off the miner, excuse my French. And I think he just wanted me to shut up. And he went, boom, shut up. And then I went, boomity, boomity, boomity. And that took care of that. I think it was the miner. That's what I think. I don't think I was dropped. Although I've had people say to me, I think you've been abducted, memory erased, because you got things that people do that seem to match up with all this. Yeah, I can't explain it. All I know is that I have quite an effect on a lot of things. I don't know. And I'm channeled and all kinds of things. I'm directed. I don't know who's doing it. Some people call it your inner voice. I'm not so sure that's my inner voice. I do have 5 advanced degrees. That's very true. None of it is in this, parapsychology or anything, but I'm using it now. My law background and everything, I'm using it 100% with all of this and trying to educate people that we do live in quite an unknown, mysterious world, and don't ever think that you got the answer, because then all of a sudden something will change and you might change your mind. So, yeah.
Yeah, agreed. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see, because we have more images. You have so many images.
Yeah,
I know.
we have
I-
a question as you are searching for the image. Dr. Kelly, do you have to perform noise reduction in procession with 3200 ISO? It's great for low light, but suffers from grainy images and noise.
That's a very good question. That image that you see is the actual image. I did not have to do anything fancy with it. I didn't have to. That is as plain as what's on my on my digital. That's why I thought it was absolutely remarkable, and I started shaking when I saw that image, because I'm like, oh my God, what on earth is that? And I knew, and my husband wasn't going to say anything, but yes, I agree with you. Do I post process? No, not really. Not unless I want to bring something out. So in this one, I filtered it. I filtered it like 100 times. I was trying to determine if what I had was a person or some kind of what kind of apparition. But the image that you see is as you see it. I just wanted to make sure, like the picture that was shown in the beginning with my what I believe to be my great grandfather and my great aunt. I did filter that literally 100 times. And I said, prove to me that what I'm seeing is not face matrixing. Prove to me that that is actually what I am seeing with my own eyes. And I have shown that picture so much. And people who like to believe in face matrixing, yes, I'm not going to deny that at all. But it's just too obvious. And by the way, I matched the little girl's face with the picture that I found. Bam, bingo. So it's like you have to go the extra mile. Sometimes you do have to filter. You do, just to make sure. Like example, I'll give you a good example. Like if let's say that was a plate glass window. Oh, those are leaves that are forming that image on the plate glass window. No, it's not. Do you know why? Because there was no trees around it. Sorry, not clouds, not this, not that. And it's a screen. It's not a plate glass window. You tell me who shows up in a screened window. So you have to be your own debunker. You have to go at it as if you're going to rip it apart. And then you're going to say, you know what? I don't know. I think that this is what it is. And that's kind of where I left it. And I'm like, thank you. I'm very grateful. Even with that shadow that showed up in the train car, scared me to death, even though I've done this a million times. But I said, thank you. Nice birthday present. That's excellent. You're going to make the newspaper. And it did. And I knew it would. Yep. So thank you for that question. Sometimes I have to filter it a little bit, but not to the point that I've been showing you these images tonight. They're very wonderful images. So yeah.
All right. Real quick, because we're heading towards the
Yep.
end. You wrote 4 books, if I'm correct.
I've wrote 12 books.
12 books. I got 4 screens.
So,
I
so
need to
the
do my
last,
homework.
so Shane, you need to do your homework. Okay. So,
I'm so sorry. I'm
If
so
you have
look.
that
I'm getting color.
I know,
on this,
I know,
on
there.
this,
You know how many things I have to read nowadays?
Well,
published, featured 12 self published books. On top.
See, that's why we have you.
yeah,
Okay.
yep. That's why you're here, Mary. That's your
See?
purpose. So
Yeah.
here's the things with the books. The four that I showed you, Shane, I combined a lot of the first books into those last four books. And so the best way to know what to purchase, I would just go to my website and go way down to the bottom.
Yep.
And I would just, it will say there, if you want to purchase more than one, this one and this one, this one and this one and this one and this one, because I don't want, some of them have such good stories in them. I just couldn't leave them out of all these books. So 12 books, those four on Amazon. Go to my website, you'll see everything. You'll see all 12. And which is www.paranormaluniversalpress.com.
There
Or
we
go
go.
to Facebook and watch who I've got on the shows coming up. Like I said, I'll get you two on there. So yeah.
I got your website shared right now.
Yeah.
Yep, that's it right there. Thank you. And I'm on
Mhm.
Facebook and I have 5 podcasts and you can find me on YouTube with a couple of podcasts and yeah,
Little
I'm
folks.
very busy. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, you are.
I
5
mean,
podcasts. I thought one was much.
There it is. It is. You have to be really organized to pull
Oh
off what
yeah.
I do without being exhausted. Yeah. I know people have asked me if I'm crazy. I said, I guess. But you know what? It's been a very interesting life to this point, and I am very confident in my knowing and my awakenings and trying to understand why I do what I do too. Just like what you guys do.
Yeah.
I've asked the question, I never thought in a million years I'd be doing this. Are you kidding me? I mean, my God. So
here
here we are, right? Here we are.
we are.
Hmm.
Definitely. And I'm very glad you decided you wanted to come on because this was amazing.
Yeah.
It was
Absolutely.
it wasn't much at all for me. It was I can continue on at least 2 hours more. So it's not a good idea because it's
Well,
way
I,
too long.
I
But
hope it entertained and educated people. But thank you
definitely,
very
definitely
much.
did.
Very fun being on. Very much.
Definitely. Um, I do have to say we hope to see you again because I think we have lots more to talk about.
Well, Mary wanted to know, but I'm not going to bring it up on this show. The personless car that tried to run me over and kill me.
Yeah.
There's only
See?
one person in this
Cliffhanger.
world. Yes, that's your cliffhanger. And Lorraine Warren is the only other person that I know of as others who has also had the attempt of something trying to run her over. And that just happened uh, 10 months ago.
Oh,
So, yeah, no, feel free to have me back. That
Oh,
one, I got pictures on that one too. And that's an interesting story. And it's all about energy. It's all about what we're dealing with. What are we dealing with?
so that's got to be a part 2.
Yep.
yep.
Definitely.
It's a date.
Oh yes. Oh yes. All right. I think we are at the end for now.
For
Um,
now.
Kelly, so thank you so much for coming on. This was amazing. I really enjoyed listening to you. For the people in the chat and interacted with us, thank you so much for interacting. I hope if you don't follow us yet, you will follow us because
Yeah,
you will never miss another one, including the second part
exactly.
of this interview,
Yes.
because it's gonna happen. Um, as always, I'm going to click everybody off, and we are going to end with a little bit of music, and then we will end the live. And we will
Yeah.
back. We will be back on Saturday.
Yeah.
On
Saturday
Saturday,
evening. And we will talk about MUFO.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. It's gonna be pre-recorded because we have to do it at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Oh,
I have to be awake anyways because I got 2 kids,
Yeah.
so I'll be awake. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching, listening, and we'll see you on Saturday.
Yeah.
Bye, bye, everybody.
Bye. Thanks, Phil.
Stack, think the unseen crowd. Fingers tapping on the veil too loud. Voices from the cracks in the floor. Shadows bending where light won't go. Chasing truth in a haunted show. Are they real or something more? Psychic dreams or skeptics grin. Ghosts of questions circling within. Answers vanish before they land. Investigators with their tools in hand, talking to the dark like it understands. Spirits rising from the sand.